Hello. Oh, I'm sorry.
Got a donation very quickly. Let me read that, and then we'll move on. We got a $25 donation from Super Fluffy Koala, who says, "Nice job on the Super Castlevania run, and good luck on the Hollow Knight run. I'll be running Ori later. Hope to see you there."
Thank you. So my name is Seer. I am here with my lovely commentator, Blue.
Hello.
So let's get right into the run.
So this is gonna be a run of Hollow Knight all skills, no major glitches, and basically what that means is that we're gonna be getting all the movement abilities, upgraded spells, and nail arts, as well as finishing an ending of the game. So that is gonna be the run that we're gonna be doing today.
Yep. So we're running on patch 1.2.21. The reason for that is because it's an older patch. So a lot of our speed tech isn't patched out yet. For instance, inventory drops. I can open the inventory midair. Oh, to start the run? Okay. I am so sorry. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So.
That was
Too fast. Need to slow down.
Warm-up RNG manipulation.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off.
Sorry about that.
So yeah, as we were saying, there's a couple of interesting speed tech and glitches that we're going to be using. Since this is no major glitches, it's mainly small things that help us go a little bit faster and nothing too significantly game-breaking. So the main thing you saw right there is Zera performed what's called an inventory drop, in which we open our inventory in midair, which allows us to uncap our falling velocity and gain a lot of speed. And you're going to see this be used in a lot of the dropping sections to just accelerate that a little bit.
Unfortunate Vengefly RNG there. Not even able to... Usually I'd use that Vengefly to pogo up, but it spawned too far away from the platform, and I had to go around. Just about 2-3 seconds time loss there.
So this beginning section of the game doesn't have too much that it's mainly just moving towards the next room as quickly as possible without stopping, basically, because we're just walking at this point. So we're going to use this to try to explain some of the more important stuff that you need to know about the game.
So what makes all skills such an interesting category is because it's one of the shorter categories that gets all movement abilities, and that allows for a lot of really cool optimizations using our double jump dash, wall cling.
You saw us pass Elderbug there? We did not say hi because we're horrible people.
We don't like Elderbug here.
Hey, speak for yourself. I'm a big Elderbug fan.
We don't like Elderbug here.
Okay, so here you're gonna see one of those inventory drops. Here you can get sniped out of the drop by the little enemies that pass by, but Sierra got through it and fell through the room very quickly. So in this room right here, you're gonna be seeing something called the double spike strat, or you're gonna at least see it be attempted, because it's really tricky. So Sierra's gonna slash a stalactite that falls from the ceiling and try to kill both of those little aspid enemies.
Unfortunately, I did miss both, but I was able to pogo to back it up, so didn't lose too much time there.
Also, yeah, really good moment to talk about the pogo. So the pogo is going to be one of Hollow Knight's, also Papa.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I've been getting bad Vengefly RNG there, so I was trying to avoid it so I didn't down slash, so I spawned at the beginning of the room.
Okay, so the pogo is going to be one of the main movement mechanics that you're going to be seeing. And the pogo is when you do a down slash and you hit something, either it's a background object or an enemy, you gain a little bit of vertical momentum. And that is very useful not only for movement and combat, but also for a few skips that you're going to be seeing in the run as well. So right there you saw Sierra use that little Vengefly to get a little bit of height and skip having to go on another platform.
So here I got pretty lucky there, actually. That hopping husk, if it hits the ceiling and its jump is pushed down, my jump will be pushed down as well, and so I had to account for that when avoiding the other husks in the room. So now we're coming up on the first boss, False Knight. We're only going to fight one phase of the boss, because there's a dev-intended skip to allow us to skip the last 3 phases and killing the boss.
Yeah, so as soon as Seer finishes off this first phase, as they did right now, the boss is going to do a little bit of a tantrum in the middle, and as soon as that tantrum is over, they can break the wall on the left and just leave the arena early. And, yeah, just like that, we don't need to finish the rest of the fight, and that's a pretty precious time save. It actually saves about 40 seconds in this run, I believe. So over here, we're now going to pick up the first ability of the game that you're going to be seeing. It's called Vengeful Spirits, and it is both a means of exploration and a really important combat tool. So the spell is going to be our most powerful damage output in Hollow Knight. We have the nail, which is our little sword, and then we have the spells. And the spells deal a lot more damage if used properly. So you're going to be seeing Seer use a lot of spell damage to deal damage to enemies in the future. And how the spells and healing work in this game is that they use something called soul. So each nail hit that you do, you get soul, and every 3 nail hits, you can get enough soul to do a cast, which is either healing or using a spell. And that is the little orb that you see in the top left, next to the health.
Another thing is, Geo is Hollow Knight's currency. Geo routing is incredibly important throughout the run, as we have some pretty big spending moments. So some of the strats that we do is just to collect enough Geo to buy everything we need to.
Yeah, a lot of the important items in this run cost Geo, and not only that, but the fast traveling system also is locked behind Geo, or at least most of it. So Geo is going to be pretty important. We won't get most of it from killing regular enemies. Or wait, actually we will in this category, because we don't go to Lem and sell relics.
Yeah, pretty much. Most of our Geo collection is in fact from just killing enemies along the way, or sometimes going out of our way to kill enemies that drop a significant amount of Geo. So now I'm going to be heading up into the next area of the game, Green Path, using our newly acquired Fireball ability. It's not only a major form of DPS, but it's also a big form of movement. Because there are a couple ledges that we literally cannot reach with our current set of abilities. And so I use the knockback from the Fireball to give me just enough extra reach to be able to get to ledges I shouldn't be able to get to.
Like right here, let's see.
So
they didn't
I'm
go
actually,
for this one.
This one I actually don't attempt. It saves about 2 seconds, and if you mess it up, it's just not worth it. Plus I wanted that extra soul to heal.
Yeah, so there you saw how the healing works. They stopped for a second to do a heal, and they spent 3 of the 9 soul that their container can hold for that heal. So as you're gonna be seeing, Seer is gonna be slashing a lot of these enemies along the way, just usually with pogos because they don't stop your momentum, or with turning around quickly and slashing behind them, just to get enough soul to be able to attempt these fireball skips. So right here is gonna be an example of a fireball skip, and they actually have just enough soul to attempt this one, so we're gonna see it right here.
Just missed it.
Ah, unfortunate. There is luckily a backup here with the little mosquito enemy. You can just lure it like this.
Not my best job of luring it, unfortunately, but there we go.
Yeah, right there. So as you can see, these fireball skips are pretty tricky to get. You have to do a perfect turnaround, basically, and immediately fire off multiple fireballs. Since the fireball is an air stall, you can use it both to push yourself back, but also to keep the height that you have. So there's going to be a second fireball skip coming up now. We're going to see if they go for this one. They do need a bit of extra soul to attempt it.
This is the most difficult one, as it requires a pretty perfect jump. Unfortunately, I didn't get it, and I want to keep the soul to heal. So I'm going to be attempting another skip called Man Pogo.
Ooh, nice.
And
well set up for it.
Bad setup there.
I think I have a little bit of delay, but that should be fine.
Alright. So in this next room, I do need to get back up to nearly full soul. Luckily, we've got plenty of enemies with which to do that.
And that is because in the next room, we're going to be fighting a bit of a mini... I wouldn't call it a mini-boss, but basically a bit of a larger enemy. We have the Moss Knight here that we need to defeat before moving on. But Seer is basically just going to destroy it immediately because they had the soul. So there you can see how powerful spells can be. A spell, a base Vengeful Spirits, deals the equivalent of 3 base nail hits. So every 3 nail hits, you can do a Vengeful Spirits and deal effectively another 3 nail hits. So when they're working in unison, especially in the early game, you can see how much damage we're able to push out here. So Seer is going to be needing a bit of extra Geo as well here. So they're going to be killing these Moss Knights down here as well as getting these Geo Rocks.
So fortunately I got good RNG. You can have the Moss Knight spawn where one will be completely off screen and you need to either tank hits or wait for it to come back on screen. But luckily we didn't have to do that.
There you can see on that little mossy enemy that Seer just killed, a good example of how we get soul without really losing any time. So by just walking along that enemy and slashing in a specific way, we can harvest some soul from it. So here's the first boss in the run that we actually fight. This is Hornet, and she is quite a nimble warrior. So you're going to be seeing Seer utilizing her staggers, which happen once every 5 hits, I believe, on this patch. Or 6 on the first stagger, and then 5 after that.
So there I got a double hit with my fireball. And there we go, that's the fight.
Right there. And now Seer is going to be picking up the dash, which is the first actual major movement ability in the run. And now things are really going to start picking up in the movement department. You're going to see why this run is so satisfying to do with the movement.
So my favorite movement segment is actually coming up. It is in Fungal Waste. We still don't have any upwards movement, either a wall cling or a double jump. And so that means that I need to do some interesting maneuvering to avoid taking damage from acid. And that includes a double inventory drop, one of which is over acid, and requires some fun timing to be able to avoid damage.
I do want to also briefly mention on the quit out that Seer just performed right there. So in Hollow Knight, you have different main save points where you can just quit out and warp back to them while still saving your progress. So the game saves your progress, but you have kind of anchor points where you spawn, basically. So we use a lot of that for routing. For example, there you saw us pick up the dash ability and quit back out to the Ancestral Mound where we got the dash, or the fireball. And now we're going to be heading off to the Fungal Waste, and we're going to do the same thing once we're done with this area and once we have the wall cling.
So now I'm just heading through. Coming up, you'll see Explosion Pogo. This is one of the first particularly difficult tricks in the category, where we pogo off of an enemy's projectile and then the projectile's explosion to get up to an area that we wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Yeah, this one is pretty tricky, but you're hopefully going to be seeing it here.
There we go, first try.
Very nice. That was a really well executed one as well.
So next we've got Mantis Pogo, where we need to do a very precise setup to be able to pogo off of these mantises, to be able to get up here and not have to go around.
Nice. So yeah, that is basically... This one is consistent actually, but it depends on manipulating those little flying mantises so that you can have them in the correct spot once you do everything. And now, once again, now we have the wall cling, we're going to be quitting out. And now you have basically the main movement set all sorted out, and the entire game is going to open to us. And we're going to go explore the rest of the game, but perhaps in a bit of an unconventional method. So what I want to explain is, something called a shade skip, which you're going to be seeing soon. So while we go over there, I'm going to take a second to explain it. So basically, the shade skips are a way in which we can reach areas where we usually cannot with the vertical movement that we have. And they depend on the Hollow Knight's dying mechanic. So, when you die in Hollow Knight, you leave behind a shade which holds all of your geo, and also you need to kill to get your maximum soul capacity back. The soul being the stuff you get when you hit enemies with your nail. And that shade is an actual enemy, and it spawns next to where you died. So we're going to be dying in a specific spot, and then we're going to be using the shade to pogo on it and reach a ledge which we cannot usually go to. And that is going to allow us to reach the right side of the City of Tears, which is one of the main mid-game and late-game, I guess, areas of the game, in which we have basically all of the important things revolve around the City of Tears in one way or another.
So what I just did there was, Gruzmother is a mini-boss, and I did a couple nail cancels where I used Fireball to cancel my nail animation, immediately followed by a Fireball to kill her pretty much almost instantly before she can get in her first attack.
So here we're going to be buying the Shaman Stone, which is a charm, which is like an equipable thing, that upgrades our spell damage and size for particular spells. And it's going to increase it by, I believe it's 33%, right?
I believe so, yeah. So
the
it pretty much makes...
goes from 15 to 20.
Yeah, our Fireball becomes significantly more powerful, and we're not even done making it powerful yet.
So as you can see here, Seer is dying on purpose, and they sat on a bench right there, which is the game's kind of save points. They're going to be equipping the charm, and now they're going to be performing the Blue Lake Shade Skip. So there you have our shade. They're going to be luring it all over to this wall right here, pogoing on it to kill it, and then going up to that ledge. And now we're going to see a bit of a little fancy swag strat, if you will, attempted, in which we can get...
It looks like something is wrong with my setup, so I unfortunately can't show off the Blue Lake Walkling storage as epic as it is.
Yeah, so what we were attempting to do there was get into a state called Walkling storage, in which the game thinks you're on a wall when you're not really, and it lets you basically store your dash momentum all the time, and go zoom zoom. To simplify it, you go zoom zoom.
Pretty much, yeah.
So Seer's going to be heading down into the City of Tears here, and on the way they're going to be killing a lot of enemies, because we are going to need 800 geo total by the end of this little segment that's coming up, which we'll need to buy a nail art called the Dash Slash, which is like an ability that you can charge up with your sword. And that one's going to be really important for a lot of skips later. But as you can see here, Seer is passing by, killing a lot of these enemies. And a large source of that geo, I believe, around 450, is going to come from a single room, including an enemy called the Gorgeous Husk. But before that, Seer is quickly going to take the bench right here to set a new spawn point, which they are going to be using to quit out later and return to. I believe twice.
Yeah.
So something that we haven't noticed or mentioned about the Vengeful Spirit is that it can actually hit twice. And this is even more boosted by the Shaman Stone charm that we picked up.
Glitch I just got.
And if you're able to hit an enemy twice with the Vengeful Spirits, then you will effectively deal double the damage. So now you can start to see how the spells are really, really, really steering ahead when it comes to our more powerful damage output. Because not only can you deal 4 nail hits worth of damage every 3 nail hits worth of soul, you can do that twice. So every 3 nail hits, you can now deal 8 nail hits worth of damage. So Seer's going to be quitting out here, and yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting you.
That's alright. So now I'm going to be heading over to Dash Slash. This is our first nail art. It does cost 800 geo, which is quite a hefty cost. But we're going to route in a bunch of little enemies called hoppers, which we will have to kill. They each drop a lot of geo, and that'll bring us the rest of the way to having 800.
Why do they drop so much geo? Like, why would these little jumpy bugs have so much money? So as you can see, Seer is doing some fireballs, making sure that they're hitting the entire rows of hoppers right here, and picking up the geos once they die. And now they have over 800 geo, and even a bit more for change. That's going to be really useful for later. So that's nice. You got some geo to spare.
Yep. Basically, until we purchase King Station, which is the room where we bought the bench, geo's going to be pretty tight.
Alright, so Seer is gonna buy the Dash Slash off this guy called Nailmaster Oro. This is Oro, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Oro.
This one is Oro. There's 3 of them, and they have similar names, 2 of them. There's one called Oro and one called Mato. And then it's like, oh, which one is which? But yeah, this one is Oro. So as soon as they are done with this, they're going to be quitting out back to King's Station, which was where they sat at the bench. And they are going to be heading off to the left this time, off to the Soul Sanctum, in which they'll pick up the next 2 abilities of the run.
So a bit about the Soul Sanctum. It's an incredibly RNG heavy segment with enemies that can decide to teleport into my dash. And at times they can be impossible to avoid. So we do have strats to deal with some of them, but it's heavily RNG dependent. But before we even get to that, pretty much, yeah. Before we even get to that, though, we have to do something called a lever skip. This is the first lever skip in the run.
And this one depends, or all the lever skips depend on hitting levers that open gates through walls. So right here you're going to see Seer attempting to hit this lever through the floor right there.
I did get the lever. Unfortunately, the enemies were in the way of where I needed to go. So in order to get them out of my way, I decided to reset the room just to be on the safe side.
So yeah, the lever skips are going to be one of the more important glitches that we're going to be using in this run. You're going to see another one, actually a couple of them coming up in Soul Sanctum alone. There's like 3 of them, actually 4 I think. Some a bit minor, but a main one to be able to get the Shade Soul upgrade for the Vengeful Spirits, effectively doubling its damage a lot earlier than we should get it. Because normally you need a key that you need to get from a guy that you need to get a key for in another area, and it's like a big chain of events. But since we have Dash Slash, on this patch we can hit a lever through the wall and enter through the regular exit for the room where you pick it up. And we can quickly get it and then move on about our days. So right here you're going to be seeing that lever skip with the Dash Slash pulled off. So he's going to jump up here to the exit, Dash Slash the wall.
Storage there. So you saw how my animation looked like I was still attached to the wall when I was in the air. That's called Walkling Storage. It gives us a pretty nice speed boost, and it's just a small optimization. The reason why it's legal is because it's actually really easy to get by accident, and so to deem it as a major glitch would be to invalidate dozens upon dozens of runs.
And plus, it looks really cool.
That too.
So yeah, the rulings of Walkling Storage are basically that they're allowed for movement optimizations, but not skipping things. So you're going to see another lever skip right here through the wall, opening this door. And here you're going to be seeing a very small boss fight against this Soul Warrior fellow here. And you're going to see how powerful the Shade Soul has become. You can see now that it has a dark void look. And we've effectively doubled its damage. So now
not only that, but the hitbox is also way larger.
Yeah, for sure. So now not only do you deal 4 nail hits per 3 nail hits, you can you deal 8 now, and then with a double hit you will deal 16. So you can deal 40 damage with a single fireball. And then sometimes in very specific scenarios, on some specific fights, you can actually get triple hits. And you're going to see the double hits potential of the Shade Soul pulled off very strongly right here in the Soul Master boss fight. This is a pretty early game fight, but now that we have Shade Soul, you're going to see him get absolutely destroyed.
So whether or not I do the quick kill is completely RNG dependent, unfortunately.
Yeah, the patterns matter a lot.
I unfortunately got 2 dives there.
Yeah. So something you saw that Seer did right there is that they kept the soul jars in the beginning of the room and fireballed into them from inside the arena once the fight started, allowing them to get some extra soul once the fight already had begun.
Alright, so that's phase 1. We are not done with the boss fight though, we still have to do phase 2. Luckily, we do have far more consistent strats for this one. There's still a significant amount of RNG, but it's a lot more manageable.
Yeah, Soulmaster can vary on how many dives he does in the space before he does his little perch, I guess would be a good word for it. So Seer's gonna be sneaking in some nail hits while he dives, and waiting for this perch right here. And you can see how absolutely powerful the Shade Soul is once again, just obliterating the phase immediately.
So that's the Soul Master. Unfortunately, I do need to heal up before I exit Sanctum. We can't quit out here because the game actually hard saves us to this room, so we gotta head all the way back to the bench.
So now we have the downwards spell ability. This is going to be the second spell of the game, and this one is called Desolate Dive. And you're going to be seeing how this one is useful right here, actually. You can break through the specific type of shaky/crumbly floor with the dive right here. And that's going to be useful for entering a later area called the Crystal Peaks, which is one we're going to be heading off to right after we leave the City of Tears, actually.
And that's a death.
Ooh, that's
I missed
unfortunate.
the first wall jump. The Follies spawned. That's the name of those enemies. And I wasn't able to outrun them.
Now we're pretty lucky that we have a hard save at dive, because that is actually only a minor time loss. Our shade is right there. They're going to be collecting the shade before they move on. But those enemies that killed Seer right there, those Follies, they actually, for some reason, have frame rate dependent movement. So if you have a high frame rate, they can move almost faster than the player and be very, very, very difficult to dodge. So there's sometimes something that can just get in the way if they spawn in an unfortunate way.
There are a lot of things that are actually very FPS dependent. Follies are just one example.
Alright, so we're going to be seeing Seer escape the Sanctum here. On the way back to the King Station, they're going to be getting enough to have 300 Geo, which they are going to be using to buy the first fast travel point in the run.
Okay,
so in Hollow Knight,
that Twister, I killed it. It should not have spawned.
Oh, it's because you died, right? It's
oh yeah, most likely.
Oh, you saved the Grubby as well. Bless.
Of course. Grubs are pretty much collectibles throughout the game. That is the only one I'll be going out of my way to save, as I do still want to do the run. That one's just pretty much on the way.
So Seer's going to be getting the Aspire bench right here, which is a hard save point they're going to be saving for a lot later, so that they can warp back to the city quickly. But actually, now that I thought about it, this would be a very good time to read donations while Seer just moves back to the King Station and get some Geo.
Awesome, because earlier we got a pretty big donation. We got a $226 donation from Valley, maybe?
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Valley.
Saying, just to make things a little exciting, and by that I mean, Kill Mila is now in the lead by $16. So.
Oh no,
Let's
you
go.
didn't.
So, thank you for the $226. Also, we're almost at the milestone for the Grappleless Ori and the Will of the Wisp fund, so just about there.
Ooh. Look, Valley, very generous donation, but did you really have to vote Kill Mila? Come on.
Yes, thank you, Valley. It's much appreciated.
How could you? Seer, I see we have some differing opinions on Mila here.
Yes, that is true.
So for those that are unaware, Mila is this little husk, and she is basically just the incarnate of everything good in the universe. And you have the choice to kill her.
Well, she kills you. She becomes infected due to the infection that causes all the bugs in the game to turn evil. And you get the option to kill her and end her suffering.
Yeah, I don't believe in killing Mila. That's as much as I'll say.
But you also believe in talking to elder bugs, so I don't really trust your opinion.
That's a good thing. What do you mean? Okay, so Seer's gonna be heading off to the Crystal Peak, and we're gonna be actually seeing Mila real quick on the way there. So you're gonna be allowed to get familiar with the blessed creature that Valley is trying to kill here.
Well,
So right
she's
there you
already
saw her.
infected, though not fully. She's on her way there.
So there you can see we use the dive to enter this area, and this area is gonna be not so much combat, mainly platforming and cycle-based movements. So a lot of really interesting things. Do you go for Pogax, Sarah?
So I actually just learned it yesterday, so yes, I will be going for it.
Alright, so here you can see the Pogax, which is a really cool strat. Let's see if
And
they get it.
unfortunately, I did not get it.
Oh, unfortunate. That one can be a bit RNG dependent. Sometimes the husk really doesn't like to cooperate and throw the little axe, which is what we're doing. We're pogoing the axe that the pickaxe that the little miner throws. So here you can see the main cycle-based room. These lasers are on a cycle, and we just have to make it through them with the correct cycle. And Sierra seems to know how to do that very well. And another room that is largely cycle-based. They're going to be resetting it because they got off on the wrong side. So they're going to be going for it again.
Unfortunately, I did miss the jump there. Sometimes the game will eat my inputs as I come out of a transition if I'm not careful. But we did make it through just fine. I'm going to be attempting a glitch called dash slash storage, where I charge up my dash slash. And unfortunately, I didn't get it, so I'll have to be hitting that lever manually.
Okay, so here comes another very cycle-based room. Zero's going to be doing a little bit of a swag strat with the dash slash as an air stall right here to dash under that platform. And here you can see some more cycle-based room stuff. At the end, you're going to be getting another bit of a swag strat called the underplat, which I'm very excited for personally.
Underplat, woo!
Yeah, let's go. So here we're going to be picking up the Super Dash, which is a another movement ability that allows us to dash very rapidly. Actually, I don't think I need to explain this one. You'll see it in about like
pretty
3
much.
seconds.
One thing that Hollow Knight does really well is it pretty much teaches you how to use all the abilities as you pick them up, because while it doesn't tell you this is what the ability does, it puts you in a place where you don't have a choice but to use the ability.
Yeah, for sure. The level design is very well done. Okay, there you see another instance of the inventory drop. And so it's going to be going through these crusher cycles. Something that's coming up now is a dark room, actually. And these dark rooms are because we don't have an item called the Lumafly Lantern, which we usually buy from an NPC that we don't even talk to in this run. So Sierra has to do this room, which is a very tricky room in the darkness. We're going to see how they do that. So basically, a lot of memorization.
Shoot.
Ooh,
I
unfortunate.
walked just a teeny bit forward in the last dash.
Second try, though. You got this. So the thing with the dark rooms is that they turn off all the hazard respawn checkpoints in the room. So if you fall into spikes, for example, you're going to get started in the very beginning. But there you see Sierra got through it very well. And they're going to be picking up the upgrade for the Descending Dive, or Desolate Dive ability right here. And this is going to be by far the most used spell, because the Vengeful Spirit and the Shade Soul, the upgraded version of it, is very powerful, but the Descending Dark, the upgraded version of the Dive, has even more power. And a lot of that comes from the fact that it gives the user a lot of invincibility frames when used. So you can use it to basically stay inside of bosses and keep dealing damage to them if you keep using it repeatedly. Especially on this patch.
This is a funny trick where we pretty much just use dash slash storage to slide all the way into the spikes, get the hazard respawn, and it pretty much gives us a lot of early control. And I believe it saves about 10 seconds, maybe more.
I think that one only saves like 6 as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Not fully sure though.
So now we're in a new area called Resting Grounds. We're about to pick up our Dream Nail. This allows us to interact with the dream world in Hollow Knight, and it's necessary to beat the game because we need to use our Dream Nail on 3 NPCs called Dreamers, pretty much killing them, unlocking the final boss.
Yeah, so this ability right here is necessary to beat the game. So before you pick up the Dream Nail, there's a bit of a dream platform sequence, which we're largely going to be C-dashing through with our Crystal Dash. And after that, we're going to be plopping out at the end of the resting grounds, but we won't care about the resting grounds because we're just going to quit out instead and return to the city. So now that we have the Dream Nail, we're going to be able to go up to the first of the Dreamers called Lurian the Watcher, and before that do a little bit of a boss fight. But we're going to be able to pick that one up, because you need the Dream Nail to get the Dreamers.
That was the
nice
second underplat in the game. If I were to have fallen in the Dream Plat segment, I would have respawned and lost a significant amount of time.
Yeah, falling in Dream Plats is always pain. Pain and suffering.
But the underplat is worth it.
Yeah, so there's an NPC here called the Seer. We don't really care about her in this run, so we're just gonna leave instead, because we're very rude. You know, we didn't talk to Elderbug in Dirtmouth. We apparently want to kill Myla over here.
Yep. Yes, we do.
And now we're gonna be ignoring Seer, you know.
So coming up is Watcher Knights. They're a rather difficult boss in most categories. Luckily, I do have D-Dark, so I'll be pretty much just using the invincibility frames from that to be able to demolish the boss.
You can also kill one of the 6 Watchers early with this Chandelier. It's a little bit of a secret. But yeah, you're going to be seeing the full potential of the upgraded spells in display here. So watch closely, because this fight is going to go by very quickly.
Some unfortunate RNG there, but we managed to bring it back.
So as you can see, we can kill them in basically 3 dives each. And now they're going to be coming 2 at a time, and you can do the same thing if they stay on top of each other, basically. That's what we want. We want a pattern where the Watchers stick on top of each other so that we can hurt them both at the same time.
Unfortunately, we are not getting that today. Ooh, holy moly.
Yeah, that one just is kind of screwing you over.
This
They're
is
rolling all over the place.
honestly some of the worst RNG I've seen with this boss.
Alright, the last pair kind of redeemed themselves a little bit.
Until that
never
roll.
mind.
Alright, there we go. Got through the boss, easy peasy. If you have any donations, this would be a perfect time.
I definitely do. It's heating up, this bid war. We've got $20 from Aaron Space, who says, "Myla so baby, why would you do this?" Thank you for the $20. We've got S. Laurent? Slorin? Not sure. Slorin. $50. Thank you for the $50. And Master Freds with $27. Thank you for the $27, Master Freds. We are currently at $276 for Kill Myla, $257 for Save Myla. So Kill Myla currently in the lead.
We can still save her.
Also, we met the Ori and the Will of the Wisp grapple. That's hard to say very quickly. The grappleless run. It's been met. Congratulations, everyone.
Let's go.
Thank you for your generosity.
Yeah, that's super cool. This is
all
a
the
great
donations
cause as
are
well,
going
so.
towards a really good cause, so we really appreciate everything. So we've just killed our first streamer. We're now going to be picking up some Geo. Alright. And coming up, we actually have 3 really difficult skips all packed together called the Isma skips, including Pogo dashing through a spike tunnel, Crystal dashing over acid, and 2 times, each with their own separate mechanics, to get to an ability called Isma's Tear, which will pretty much let us get sit in acid safely. But until then, we need to pretty much go out of our way to perform these incredibly difficult skips. So you saw me fill up a little bit of soul there. And one is because I need to do a safety fireball, just in case there's bad RNG so that I don't get hit in the acid. And the other one is, honestly, just in case I mess something up. There we go, that's the spike tunnel. I was a little bit too high on my wall jump that first time.
Alright,
So here's the safety fireball. Crystal dash number 1.
You're doing this really well. These skips are really tricky as well.
Number 2.
Nice!
And there we got through all of it. I'm actually going to heal up here before I pick up the ability, because this Swarmp is going to actually be kind to us for once.
Bonk.
And allow us to get an early control.
Yeah, so the Whormps are usually basically the poster child of awful enemy that everyone hates. But they're actually, we can actually use them for something good in this category.
So this room that I'm going to be crystal dashing across here is completely RNG based, whether or not I get hit out of my C dash. And I just got incredibly lucky, completely uninterrupted C dash. So now we're going to be heading down into Ancient Basin to pick up our double jump ability called Monarch Wings. Alright, so
yeah, we're gonna be heading into the basin right here, and we're gonna be fighting the broken vessel. But on the way there, we have a bit of an RNG section. You have these big enemies called the Monarchs, and they basically just spit a bunch of infection goop in the air, and we're gonna be trying to
seem... So there's actually pretty consistent setups for all of them except one, and if I do them correctly, I should only get hit at most one time. So you saw I was able to get through most of them there without taking any damage. Unfortunately, messing up pretty badly on this last one. I think I got some sort of waffling storage there.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. So, for the broken vessel, the start of the fight starts off with a little bit of an animation where a bunch of small infection things jump into the fight. And we can actually slash at the ones that are the furthest away to begin the fight earlier, because they all need to be gone before the fight starts.
Oh, missing that fireball was not nice.
Alright, so you're gonna see here, the upgraded spells are gonna come into use quite a lot. Right there you have the Descending Darks being a very important use. Right here on this attack is where we really can deal damage with the Descending Dark. Ooh, this is scary. Don't die.
Don't worry, he dies. So we actually got some pretty bad RNG there in that we want him to do the headbang attack relatively quickly, and he really took his sweet time with that.
That was terrifying.
It's fine, we're fine.
We're fine, yeah. Okay, so this is also going to be a pretty good time to read donations. We're just picking up the double jump right here, and then we're going to be heading back through to another stag station in the basin.
You may be unsurprised to know that we have donations. We have a $10 donation from Water with Flavor. It says, yeah, let's keep killing Mila ahead, shall we? Thank you for the $10. And then we have a $20 donation from Blue, who says, killing Mila, not on my watch.
Blue, thank you so much for the donation.
And we just got another one very quickly. Master Fred's 7 with $20. Not saving for myself, but let's do it for the animals and Mila.
Yeah.
So thank you for the $20. And that puts us at 297 for save, 286 for kill.
Yes! Yes!
No!
We're saving her. Please, let's keep it this way.
All right, Hollow Knight community, I'm counting on you. Let's put her out of her misery.
I'm also counting on you, but for the opposite thing. We can defeat the infection instead and she'll be fine.
So next I'm going to be heading to one of the hardest boss fights in the category, Hornet 2. That first boss fight we fought, yeah, she comes back and she's stronger and faster and has more attacks.
Yeah, so Hornet 2 is going to be a pretty big reset point in runs of this category, but of course this is a no reset, so it won't be, however badly it goes. But she's a very tricky fight. She's very, very nimble, and we're going to be trying to get a lot of double hits with the Shade Soul on this fight. That's gonna be the main way that we try to fight her.
We want to keep her staggered and use our fireball in strategic ways to get as many double hits as possible, as it's pretty much our main DPS for the fight.
Yeah, at this point the nail is nothing else than just a little stick that you get soul with. Like, the damage that the nail does is almost completely useless because the spells are so much more powerful. So there you can see Seer setting up double hits pretty well. And remember that the double hits are very important. They can effectively double our damage output with each spell use. So they're going to be super, super important for this fight, especially since Hornet 2 has a lot of health, since she is a very late game boss. So while we were underpowered, or sorry, while we were very overpowered for a lot of the other fights in this category, this one is the first one that I would say we're maybe even underpowered, because at this point the game expects us to have many nail upgrades, which are something that we don't even think about getting in this category.
And there we go. So that's the Hornet fight.
Very good fight, by the way.
I did get some unfortunate parries as I cast my Shade Soul, which meant she didn't take any damage from those. But that was
you didn't
actually
also take any damage from
a
her.
hitless fight.
Heck yeah.
Which I can't say is a very common occurrence. Wait,
Gaming.
this isn't a rando.
So Seer's going to be performing a bit of an early control out of this cutscene here, where Hornet jumps in and saves you. What we just picked up right there, by the way, is the King's Brand, which is going to give us access to an area called the Abyss later, which houses 2 of the abilities that we need to collect at the run. Now, the King's Brand also has a lot of lore significance, which, you know, we will not be covering too much today.
We're too speedy for the lore.
We're too speedy for the lore, exactly. I'll give you a short rundown of the lore. Basically, Big Moth bad, small king guy also bad, everyone is dead. That's it.
Oh, what was that? Dash the other way. Okay.
That is the Hollow Knight lore, right there. Ow.
Okay, I am really not having much luck with those guys. Luckily, there is a bench coming up, so I'm not too worried about my health at this point.
Yeah, so we are also going to be heading off to get the Cyclone Slash, which is going to be the second nail art that we're picking up in the run. There's a total of 3. This one is going to be the second. And this one is actually useful for other stuff than combat. I mean, in this category, the nail upgrades aren't, or sorry, the nail arts aren't even that useful to combat because our nail is very weak. But the Cyclone Slash has some interesting properties where you can use it to fall really quickly. But you can still maintain your ability to move side to side, which you cannot do with the inventory drops.
Pretty much all our nail arts are used for movement, whether it's by breaking walls faster or falling faster, or in some cases actually canceling hard falls.
Actually, this is also a good time to read donations, if there are any.
Alright, nothing right now, but I'll update that we have Save Mila at 297 and Kill Mila at 286. And also, Ben mentioned it in chat, but we do have a new milestone, Metroid Hard Mode. We're already about 90% of the way there. $2,021. We're currently at $1,803.82.
Ooh. I like the fact that Save Mila is winning.
I don't.
Well, that's just evil.
Disagree. Well, anyway, so that's the Cyclone Slash ability we just picked up. You're actually going to see us use it to cancel a hardfall right here as we fall back into the well. It's an automatic hardfall every time, unless you use a nail art to cancel the hardfall.
So now we're going to be heading off to an area which we haven't been in this run yet. We're going to be heading off to the Fog Canyon, and we are going to be getting the second Dreamer in the run called Monomon. And Monomon is guarded by this big jellyfish called Umu. And Umu is basically the word RNG incarnate. It's a lot of RNG. And the fight basically works in a sort of damage phase kind of structure, where the boss does a certain amount of attacks, and then we can deal damage to it. And Seer is going to be attempting to kill the boss in a single cycle, which is very tricky to do. We can use a setup where we push the boss out of bounds so that it can get pushed back and get double hits on the last fireballs we do. But the damage cycle is very, very precise, and there's not a lot of room for failure. And then there's also the fact that Umu can do an extra attack for no reason, which messes up your positioning. So we're going to be hoping for a no extra attack Umu right there. And that is going to be what we're doing in here. So right now, Seer is moving towards the boss. We just entered the archives, which is where the boss is, as well as Monomon. And as you can see, we also have Isma's Tear, which we picked up through that set of skips earlier, which allows us to swim in the acid, which we previously could not. Something else that you can see us do here, or that you just saw Seer do, is that Seer just used the Dream Nail on an enemy to get soul from it. And this is a mechanic that not a lot of casual Hollow Knight players are actually aware of, but it's very useful in bosses like these, where we need to get soul while we cannot damage the fight. So Seer is going to be setting up in a specific way right here, jumping up and luring Umu to that spot. Unfortunately, Fireball's in the wrong direction, but that is alright. This should be a very swift cleanup for a second cycle. So getting a 2-cycle on Umu is still pretty good.
Oh no. I need to focus on not dying now. I've been trying to Dream Nail Umu, as Blue was talking about. Okay,
oh, this is
still
scary.
has health. I was not expecting that. I guess it makes sense. Gonna be another one fireball or perhaps a nail hit away.
Oh, this is so scary. Don't die, please.
I'll do my best, Blue.
Okay, you should be fine, right? Oh, it's an extra? Come on! Oh my god.
Unu's just kind of bullying.
All you have to do is not walk into the fight now.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
That's the danger over.
That was very scary.
Unfortunately, the fact that I fireballed the wrong way just completely messed up the entire cycle, and there wasn't much I could do. Once I was at 1 health, my only priority was to survive.
Yeah, I do want to stress that the cycle, the 1-cycle strat has basically no room for failure. You need every single damage from your soul and your nail. But Umu is always here to make it more interesting. Perhaps not make the run better, often the very opposite of that, but at least they're here to make it interesting.
Alright, so we're now slurping up Dreamer number 2. Now we're now in late mid-game, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so next we're going to pick up our last nail art, Great Slash, heading through Fog Canyon back up to Green Path, and we're going to do a fun little segment that we belovedly call Green Path of Pain.
I was really thrown off by the fact that you didn't Dreamgate there, and then I realized what category you're running.
Yeah, so Dreamgate is not a skill, and therefore we don't pick it up in this category.
Okay, so Seer's going to be escaping the archives here, but on the way out, they are going to be taking the bench at the top, which they're going to be using as a sort of anchor point for a quit out later. So this movement right here is going to be pretty interesting. First of all, Seer is going to be passing through the remaining bit of the Fog Canyon before heading back up to Green Path, the second area we visited in the run. But it's the lower part of Green Path that we haven't been to yet, and you're going to see that our full movement loadout at this point, basically, allows us to move through very cool ways in these rooms. Like, the movement turns very interesting.
What you just saw is called an airwalk. It gives me another dash in the air. I got it by buffering a jump out of a dash over a seam in a floor. It's quite a fun skip, honestly. It's not actually optimal, but it's swag, so it's optimal in our hearts.
So here is just a very long room, a lot of sea dashing, and the room after this is also a lot of sea dashing, but that one is going to be a bit more interesting. It's a bit of a movement gauntlet of sorts. Actually, there's another room before that. Sorry.
So we're now coming up on Green Path of Pain. This is the movement gauntlet. I need to be pretty precise with my movements and my sea dashes to be able to avoid getting hit by these enemies. I was a millisecond or so too late, and so got hit. Not a big deal, though. Okay, that is a big deal.
Ooh. Are those the Durandas or the Durandus? I always mix up the enemy names.
I don't remember. I don't like either.
Understandable. Oh, you went for the right side jump. Let's go.
Always. The right side jump is just a fraction of a second faster. It's a pretty precise wall jump there below the thorns, but if you get it, it looks pretty cool.
I gotta say, the Shio nail art cutscene is probably the coolest cutscene that I wish was, like, the timer was paused, that you can stop and appreciate it.
Oh yeah. So, fun fact about Shio, he's actually canonically gay, and is therefore one of the most beloved characters in the Hollow Knight community.
Yeah. Yeah, he and a character called the Nailsmith. There's an ending to their little storylines where they find each other.
Okay,
really
that RNG on. That Uma just got
Ow.
hit for double damage. Wasn't much I can do. I am going to look for opportunities to heal up because I'm now going to be entering one of the most nerve-wracking segments of the run, actually, with the Split Arena, followed by Queen's Gardens, followed by 3 dark rooms, actually.
Yeah, so at this point, we won't have any more benches, really, for a long time. So there is going to be a really long section. It's basically like a 5 to 6 minute section with a lot of tricky parts where we don't really get any sort of time to stop and heal. So anytime
Not only
we
that,
heal,
but there's actually a damage tank as well.
yeah, for sure. So you're going to be going through this little gauntlet of enemies. Seer knows how to set themselves up for this one. That's a strat I haven't seen before. Is that faster?
So, I'm not sure it's the one that I was taught. I know that it's not as commonly used in the community, but I find it to be incredibly consistent.
Yeah, so Seer healed there before picking up the ability, because the ability called Howling Wraiths here actually gives you full soul when you pick it up, something that is in common for all spells. So they healed with the soul they had before, and then they were given full soul after. So you're going to be seeing another lever skip here with the dash slash to get into this area. Usually we would not be able to enter this area from this side with the abilities that we have, but with that lever skip we are able to. I usually forget just how dependent on lever skips this category is. It's pretty crazy, right?
Oh yeah, this category would be very different without it.
I don't think I've even watched an All Skills current patch run before in its entirety.
So, you can see just how powerful our spells are, that we were able to just completely dispatch those enemies like that. And what you just saw there is a damage warp, where the respawn hitbox for the lever actually collides with the hitbox of the spikes, just enough for us to be able to hit the spikes in just the right place and respawn below.
Yeah. Something else neat is that these enemies down here, the little spinies below, on this patch, they don't actually deal damage to you with their attacks. Right there, the one that Seer is farming. They don't deal damage with their little thorn barrages that they throw out, because their hitboxes they're actually on the wrong layer. So we can just use them for soul gathering without having to worry about them. So here you're going to see 3 sections of dark rooms that Seer is going to be doing. And these rooms are pretty big. While they aren't the hardest ones, they are very punishing, because if you make a single mistake and fall into spikes, you're going to start over at the very beginning. And if you fall in the wrong place, it's very easy to get a bit disoriented. But Seer knows how to do these really well, and they're going to be going through them very quickly. So this is going to be the last room. This has a little bit of a maneuvering section here.
That was
so
a bit
there you have,
disappointing.
yeah, there you have an example of how punishing these mistakes can be. They spawn you at the very beginning of the room, and this is regularly so that casual players don't walk into dark rooms and then get themselves stuck when they get lost and hazard respawn somewhere they're not familiar with. But in speedruns, it just kind of screws us over. So Seer is moving through right here, getting past that enemy, and then walking through here. And now they're going to be popping out in the distant village, which is going to be where the last 3 of the Dreamers in the category, called Hera the Beast, resides in this area called Beast Den. Now regularly, you sit on this trap bench, and you get taken into the Beast Den in a very slow way. You have to fight yourself out. But since we have the wings, we can actually skip in through a little dev-intended shortcut in the top and just basically go directly to Hera. So Seer's a bit low on soul here, so they're going to be quickly stopping by this devout right here and dream nailing it for soul, just so that they can kill the devout at the top without any issues.
Those devouts do 2 damage, and if you take damage from them, you won't phase through them like most enemies. You'll get stuck in front, and there's no way to go over or under it. So the safest way to do it, instead of risking a death and having to go through that whole segment over again, is just to farm soul.
Yeah, so that is going to be the 3rd Dreamer. Now technically we could just go and beat the game, but we actually do have 2 abilities remaining. We have the Shade Cloak, which is a sort of upgrade to our dash, and we have the Abyss Shriek, which is sort of an upgrade to our Howling Wraiths, the upward spell that you saw Seer pick up in the Queen's Gardens, or right before the Queen's Gardens, technically. And Seer needs 250 geo for the Stag Station in the distant village, which they have plenty over. So, we are fine in the geo department, and now we don't really need to worry about geo for the rest of the run either, which is super nice.
So if you have any donations, this is the perfect time to read them.
Great. My dog may be barking, though. He's downstairs and saw something. We have $11. There it is. From Princess Celery. I am here for the melodrama. It's now tied. I'm going to take care of the dog.
Oh, boy.
It's tied? Oh, my God.
All right, guys. I'm counting on you.
We have,
Let's get
until
killed
the
by
end
a-
of the run? Or...
We have until I'm exiting Abyss.
Okay, so we have about, what is that, 4 minutes?
That sounds about accurate.
Yeah, so about 4 more minutes for the donation war. What happens if it's tied, by the way? What do we do then?
Swag door. Time my C dashes to be able to go through the door just as it was opening.
So here you can see just how quickly the inventory drops let you fall if you let it like if it's uninterrupted. Because as I mentioned, the inventory drops uncap your acceleration limit for falling. So as long as you keep falling, you can keep accelerating. And there's a particular point in
sorry, Blue, I'm just going to explain Lighthouse Climb. I'm
Oh, yeah,
pogoing
that
off of these, they're actually called siblings. To get to the top of the lighthouse, they deal double damage and don't give you souls, so if you end up taking too much damage, you're pretty much in a bind. But luckily
Yeah.
we got through it without any trouble, really.
They can definitely be very spooky, because you die in 3 hits. So, like, any mistake, it could have you tumbling down the climb, and then you have just a horde of them coming towards you, and it's really terrifying. Very easy section to mess up. All you have to do is to make that first mistake, and then you can definitely get screwed over. But Sarah got through it really well this time, so that's nice.
So what I just did there is as soon as I touched the basin where you collect the Shade Cloak ability, I actually quit out because it takes quite a while for that animation, and as soon as you touch the basin, it registers as you having it. So there's no need to sit through all of that. So now I've got the Shade Cloak ability that allows me to dash through enemies once every 3 dashes. Unfortunately, we get it at the very end, so we don't get to use it much. But we will be using it a lot against the final boss, along with the Abyss Shriek, which is the most powerful spell in the game, and we're on our way to pick it up right now.
Yeah, so the Abyss Shriek is the most powerful spell in the game. It deals an entire 120 damage with the Shaman Stone if you get all 4 of the ticks that it deals. So it's going to be super useful. Using it against the Hollow Knight is kind of awkward, because you have to stand right next to them to be able to hit it. But that is the way that Seer is going to be fighting that boss. And I think right before the Abyss Climb now, we have time for... No, actually, let's keep the donation.
Yeah, so Abyss Climb, is what's coming up right now. It is by far one of the most difficult platforming segments in the game when you're trying to do it fast. Let's see how it goes.
It looks super cool. So the Abyss Climb is basically the culmination of movement. So you're gonna see a lot of quick vertical ascent here. And let's see how Seer pulls it off. You have some really tricky vertical pogo strats, like here, for example, where you have to pogo these 3. The spikes that are kind of jutting out like that. It can be very awkward and very easy to just fall into. But Seer got through the climb very well, opting to...
Alright, and this is where we'll have to close the save kill Nyla.
Do we have any final donations?
We got one from Master Freds for $11 that said, save Mila. We just got one from Jeff is Epic for $30 that says, kill Mila. So right now, kill Mila's ahead.
Oh my god.
Alright. Let's see.
So if we're closing it, then... And then a $1.01 donation from Anonymous. Thank you.
I think... Do we close it
all
at the Black Egg as soon as we enter?
What?
Do we close it at the Black Egg as soon as we enter?
No, we gotta close it now, because if I'm heading down to...
Oh, you're heading now. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were doing it.
Then in that case, it would be kill Mila with $327.
Let's go.
No!
Thank you for your generosity, everyone. That's over $600 just for this bid wars. That's pretty amazing.
How could you? I mean, it's really good that you're donating to charity, but like, could you at least have picked Save Mila?
Completely benched at, I should have benched at. All right, there's Mila. Now let's go finish it up. I will have to buy the Crossroads Stag. No wait, I can't buy the Crossroads Stag. So I'm going to have to be heading through here. Because I forgot to take the bench. Alright, let's finish this up.
Alright, so we're gonna be entering the Black Egg Temple where the final boss of the game, the Hollow Knight, resides. So, are you gonna be doing the wiggle? Yeah, aw.
I attempted it.
You attempted it. You can actually store your Cyclone Slash animation and you can become a little helicopter knight for a couple seconds. It loses time, but it looks really funny, so people like to attempt it for marathon runs like this. So Seer is going to be entering the Hollow Knight arena right here, and as soon as they break the chains, the final fight of the run is going to begin. So as we mentioned, for this one, we're mainly going to be using the Abyss Shriek, which can be very awkward. So you're going to see a very tricky fight, and it's really hard to pull it off well. And the boss can also just kind of screw you over with patterns.
What we want is a lot of those attacks, not a lot of dashes, and not a lot of the parries like that.
Alright, can we get some Hollow Ds in the chat for the run? We're just about to be done here. And as you can see, the fight is going through very quickly with the power of the Abyss Shriek. I believe this boss has like a total of 1,000-ish health, I want to say. I don't know if that's right. But either way, Abyss Shriek makes very quick work of it. Seer is also playing this really well, opting to save their soul for the good times to strike with the Shriek. So the boss is going to do a scream, and Seer actually gets the scream skip. You can do that by taking damage, and there it is. The all skills run has finished. Now all Seer needs to do is consume the essence, and then we're done. GG's. The time is gonna be called on the fade to black.
Alright, that's time.
So, time.
Okay,
Right,
that's the All Skills Hollow Knight speedrun. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're interested in speedrunning Hollow Knight, check out the Hollow Knight community Discord. Lots of lovely folks there.
Let me get the link to that. Here we go. It's in the Discord, in the chat. Oh, okay.
Alright.
I got yeeted by Nightbot. But yeah,
right.
that is gonna be it.
Yeah,
so, Sarah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for commentating, Blue.
Yeah, both of you did a great job, and so did everyone in the chat that donated and helped raise, I don't remember the exact number, over $600 for that bid war, so that's awesome.
So thank you to everyone who paid for us to kill Mila. You made my day.
Well, all right, that concludes this run of Hollow Knight. Up next, we'll have a race of Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition by Smashy SR, Infinite, and Super Fluffy Koala Bear. So stay tuned for that. We'll get that going shortly.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Yeah, thank you. And sick run, Sierra. You did really well.
Thank you.
All right.